I still have the paper. It's been 4 years, and I keep it in the breast pocket of my civvies jacket, folded once. The way she handed it to me in the doorway, before the captain took it out of my hands and dropped it in the trash. A grid coordinate sheet, handwritten in black ink. Building 7, Sector 9, Northeast Quadrant. Do not enter the southeast block. The pattern breaks at the canal wall. Secondary egress, the alley behind the grain exchange, bearing 310. Handwriting is precise. She'd done this before. That was the thing none of us understood about her in those days, and I've spent a long time since making peace with that ignorance. Her name was on a cross-attachment slip. She had been introduced to Captain Aldridge as a language asset, a translator, a civilian contractor embedded for the Masra operation because she had dialect fluency nobody in the rifle company could match. She wore no rank. She carried a sidearm. Her kit was plain and her manner was quiet. And in the planning room at Fob Carston, the night before the Sector 9 breach, she had listened to the captain walk through the annulled plan for 11 minutes before she said anything at all. What she said was this: the southeast block is wrong. The pattern of vehicle movement in the 72-hour imagery shows the target element has shifted north. They're in Building 7, not 12. If the stack goes through the southeast corridor, they'll be entering from the bottom of a 3-story kill box with one exit. The captain looked at her the way men look at someone who has wandered into the wrong room. "You're the Terp," he said, unkindly, which made it worse. "Just the Terp. Intel has the target in Building 12. We've run 3 imagery confirms." Picked up her grid sheet from the table, glanced at it, and set it in the trash can beside the map board. "Stay with the vehicles. Keep the radio warm. If we need translation on site, I'll call you forward." I was standing in the back of that room with the rest of Second Squad. Was 22 years old. I did not say a word. She looked at the trash can. She looked at the captain. She said, "Copy that," and walked out. I found out later she went back to the vehicle line, sat on the hood of the second mistrap, and spent the next 2 hours with a map and a notepad. Nobody went to check on her. Nobody thought to. We went into Sector 9 at 415. The captain took First Squad through the southeast corridor at 0422. I was with Second Squad, 20 meters behind the breach point. When the first contact hit, not from Building 12, not from the southeast, from the rooftop of Building 9 and the upper windows of the grain exchange on the north face of the block. 3 directions. Exactly the geometry she had drawn on a grid sheet that was sitting in a trash can at Fob Carston. The radio crackled before the dust settled. "Maine, this is Iron Pasture. Sector 9 element is in contact, 3-point engagement. Grid reference 771. I have the picture. Carston, Maine. Put me through to the assault net." I did not know who Iron Pasture was. In that moment, I did not care. The voice on the radio was steady. Not calm the way someone performs calm, but level the way a machine is level, and it was giving directions. "Second Squad, do not advance south. The canal wall is a hard stop. They have the angle from the grain exchange roof. Turn north on the alley behind Building 8, bearing 310. Move now, I will talk you through." Our squad leader, Sergeant Okafor, looked at me for 1 second. Then he turned north. She walked us through that alley, one instruction at a time. She knew where the second position was before we reached it. Told us there were 2 shooters on the fire escape at the northeast corner. Told us the elevation and the angle. Told Okafor to stack left, not right, when we came around the grain exchange wall. He stacked left. The fire escape was where she said. 2 positions cleared, 0431. Meanwhile, on the assault net, she was coordinating First Squad's exfil through the same alley system. Aldridge's team had taken 2 wounded in the initial contact and was pinned behind a vehicle's bay in the southeast block, exactly where she'd said not to go. She had already calculated the path out. She told him turn for turn, doorway for doorway, the gap in the courtyard wall large enough to move a litter. She told him which windows were hot and which were empty. She was right every time. I do not know how she knew. I have thought about it for 4 years, and the only answer I have arrived at is that she had been doing this longer than any of us, in places none of us had heard of. And she had done her homework while we were cleaning our weapons. At Arrow 503, Squad came through the courtyard gap, with both wounded on litters. At Arrow 511, Second Squad cleared the northeast corner, and held the alley at bearing 310. At 0519, she brought 3rd Squad through the grain exchange loading dock and put them on the north face to cover the exfil corridor. At 0534, all 31 Marines were out of Sector 9. She met us at the vehicle line. She was standing by the same strap she had been sitting on 2 hours earlier, radio in hand, notepad on the hood beside her. She looked at every man who came through. She did not look at herself. The captain came through last. He had a field dressing on his left forearm and dust in every crease of his face. He looked at her, and she looked at him, and neither of them said anything for a long moment. Then he walked to the command vehicle and got on the net to battalion. She folded her notepad, put it in her chest pocket, and went to check on the wounded. The after-action report was read at formation 6 days later on the FOB Karsten parade ground. I did not know, until the battalion commander read the first paragraph aloud, that the language asset attached to captain. Aldridge's company held the rank of major. I did not know she had 2 silver stars. I did not know her call sign had been assigned by a 3-star general, after an operation in a country whose name I am not authorized to repeat. I did not know she had run 14 confirmed solo engagements, or that the cross-attachment to Aldridge's company as a language asset was a cover designation used specifically when her actual role would complicate command politics and they needed her inside the wire without a fuss. I did not know any of it. The battalion commander read for 4 minutes. The parade ground was very quiet. When he finished, he said her name and her rank, Major, and he stepped back. Captain Aldridge walked the length of the formation. He stopped in front of her. He came to attention and rendered a formal salute, and held it until she returned it. 200 Marines were standing in that formation. Not one of them moved. I keep the grid sheet because it was right. Not as a lesson, not as a reminder, just as a fact I want to stay in contact with. Building 7, Sector 99 Northeast Quadrant. Do not enter the southeast block. The pattern breaks at the canal wall. Secondary egress. The alley behind the grain exchange, bearing 310. She handed it to me because I was the nearest man in the doorway. She knew it would end up in the trash. She wrote it anyway. That is the whole of what I know about her.